So recently, the Netflix series Monster, they did the season on Ed Gein. Well, it turns out that most of the story was false. It was all made up for the sake of drama. And as someone who likes biographies, I don't really like that. It's kind of like spitting on the victim's face just for a quick buck. And so essentially, I feel like that the people behind Monster series should change the show for a better direction. Mostly because you don't want to cause even more drama to taint the show. Because that's going to be bad press. And well, first off, the following reasons why. It's because, they don't really do their research. The killer gets more famous or something like that. And there needs to be a new direction. You know what I'm saying? Right, so first off, not so fun fact, the people behind the Jeffrey Dahmer season, they did not consult with the victims with the families of the victims. And you already know how bad that is. They only found out once the season aired. And years of trauma resurfaced because of that. And that's really horrible. Like, imagine seeing someone that resembles you in the very outfit that you wore at court, just like do everything that you did on that day while you're in grief and rage. And there's some good examples of how, like, reaching out to those who were involved could do the series even better. For example, for Band of Brothers, the 101st Airborne Easy Company, the veterans, they helped with filming to make sure that it remains authentic. And also in Black Hawk Down, 2001 with Ridley Scott, the 160th SOAR, they provided Black Hawks and MH6 little birds, as well as some pilots to fly them for the scenes. Which some of them were actually in Mogadishu in 1993 during Operation Gothic Serpent, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie. And well, one of the people behind Monster, they claim to have reached out to the families of the victims, but there is a bunch of contradictions to that by the actual families. So you'll probably never know the truth behind it, unless some breakthrough comes out against the claims of the families. And so the second part, essentially, it's pretty disturbing, but it always happens for some reason. So with Monster and other series like that, producers like to dramatize. I mean, like, make storylines, romances, stuff like that. For example, the Menendez brothers, they're made to look like gay lovers for some reason. I don't even know why. And what's actually pretty funny is that one of the Menendez brothers called out the people behind Monster because everything was pretty inaccurate, not gonna lie. And once there's a movie about a serial killer or something like that, there's gonna be fans of them. What's pretty disturbing is Jeffrey Dahmer still has some fans, along with Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, BTK, people like that. And that's and I know it's some sort of edgy phase or something, but it's kind of messed up, not gonna lie. And imagine in 2010, 2022, you're handing out candy for trick or treating, and you see these teenage girls dressed like Jeffrey Dahmer for some reason, and you just become disgusted already. And what's even more messed up is that allegedly Ted Bundy, he has some fangirls that dressed in the style of his victims. So put yourself in the shoes of the family members that are in court for the trial, and you just see tons and tons of girls dressed like the victims. That's very messed up, and I have to say they have some guts to not crash out. And for the final part, essentially, like, monster needs to be more gritty and should focus more on the victims and the killers. So, like, like their true horror to nature, stuff like that. So we're not directly romanticizing them. And also, what the crew should do is actually consult with the victims and the families, not the families of the victims, police, the FBI, people like that. And essentially, in conclusion, that's what monsters should do. Actually, consult with the victims and also law enforcement. So like, they should not it should not avoid consulting with the families of the victims. Furthermore, imagine if, like, so do you all know the murder of Junko Furuta? Right. So essentially what it is, a 17-year-old Japanese girl, she was kidnapped and sorts of brutal stuff was happened to her in the span of 44 days. And when she died, she was buried in a barrel full of concrete and left in a lot. So to make a drama out of that, it's like super messed up. Like someone actually died. It's like, for me personally, I was kind of attracted to Junko. Like her face, she was just beautiful. And like see someone like decide to make profit off her death, it's like really messed up. And that should be it.